tell you the only world in which the European Union gets these concessions is the neg world. That comes from the Kana card, when they tell you that when the EU leverages them joining the BRI, that's when they get concessions. The neg has already garnered concessions right now. That's the strategy that's working. That changes when you affirm, because then we tell you when the entire EU is more reliant on China for trade and for economic prowess, like they themselves tell you, that means that they have less leverage over China. That means they're less able to garner concessions, and that means as a whole, they're less willing to challenge China on these policies. We see the same thing happening in Hungary, where they won't challenge China on the South China Sea. But then, even if they win this entire case, we still outweigh, because they're only talking about benefits to European countries, whereas we tell you about benefits to countries in like Africa and Southeast Asia, which have much worse social security nets, and so they should be prioritized. But then, let's go to their actual solvency. Remember that they tell you a recession is coming in 2020. Infrastructure investment is long-term. They're never going to garner these benefits soon enough. And even if they want to try to tell you they're garnering them from employment, remember Jackie tells you that Chinese companies use Chinese labor. They don't get benefits from employment. But then, even if these railroads are somehow built in like a day, they still don't benefit Europe, because the Casarini card tells you that because of the trade deficit between Europe and China, these railroads primarily benefit China, which means that European companies suffer, which means in the long run, the European economy shrinks. But then, let's go to our case on the overview. First, he tells you that France and Germany are already going to join. But realize, Germany only wants to join if they can get concessions from China. Germany's unemployment is at 3.1%. Their trade with US is at $62 billion. Germany is fine, they don't need China. We tell you, the only way in which the entire bloc joins and actually garners these concessions is if France and Germany join. We tell you that can't happen until they get concessions. That's why you can go to our second warrant on legitimacy. Balding tells you that because of backlash of the BRI, China is facing a legitimacy crisis. Korten tells you that in order for China to save their BRI, they need the EU to join. That's why Kana tells you that the EU right now is able to leverage so many concessions. That's the status quo that is currently working. Smith tells you that if other countries like France and Germany join, that's only going to incentivize other African countries that haven't joined, or other Latin American countries that haven't joined, to join on. That gives China the legitimacy that they need. That's only going to increase the amount of predatory loans that they give. That's when you extend our impact on debt disaster. Stanzel tells you that 23 out of 68 countries in the BRI right now are on the face of a debt crisis. Richter tells you that in this debt crisis, it becomes a cycle. Investors don't want to invest. People can't recover from their debt. NERV tells you that this means that millions of people go into poverty. They can't solve for this because on BRI, because the debt are so high, the economic growth is never enough to actually recover from that debt. So at the end of the day, the debt is always going to outpace economic growth. It's only going to push these countries to the brink of default and economic contraction. Thus,